arms and never leave me. Don't leave me, boy. Tell me if you want to follow me, to follow me. Take me to your arms and never leave me. Don't leave me, boy.
Four French drivers at the French Grand Prix trying to win this on the final lap. The three wide again, Guillaume down the inside. Guillaume moves across, they're both in front of Milan and Pouget.
But before you know it, we find ourselves here in the very final race of the competition.
And then they see truck racing and they think, this is crazy, you know, these are 5-ton machines, 1,200 horsepower brake.
Oh, look at that switchback. Oh, he's been mugged and a drifted go out.
Ben Gregory now, I love it. 10.5 minutes gone. Senna Lanson tries to go for the race lead.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chaz Draycott Media, and welcome to rounds 5 and 6 of the CDM Speedway Superleague here from Limaland Motorsports Park in the United States. It's another circuit that is almost one giant corner, and just like last time at Lanier, or Lanier as I was calling it, it is going to be a really exciting night for the championship with differing lines and a big challenge for our drivers that isn't just long straights like it was at USA International Speedway. We will actually be ending the season back here at Limaland on the 7th of March, but before that we're going to go back to USA International, back to Lanier, and then here, like I say. It's going to be a lot of fun though, and we're really looking forward to what the drivers have up their sleeves for tonight. We first need to look at the championship standings though, which sees Brian Crowell's at the very top. He's been having a great run so far in this campaign, and he's going to be very excited for taking the championship lead coming here to Limaland. But as you've seen though, it's very close. Jake Cranstone on just 27 points, only 2 behind Brian, with Aaron Smith after a big loss of points in a certain race in the previous round. Aaron will be hoping to gain everything he can back on Brian Crowell's tonight. That car you're going to hear right now is actually him just going out to the circuit. Andy Oakley is next up ahead of Pete Harrod. Martin Kenyon had a good time at Lanier, and John Bailiff sits in 7th place at the moment. Riley Sheringham is best of the rest, but there's a 6-point gap there between those guys that might be hard to overcome. In the Teams Championship, it's the rapid rocking Rebel Rascals Racing Round and Round World Racing team that lead the way on 40 points, with Virtual Reality Autosports on 22 points. Spontex CDM Esports, which is Pete Harrod and Niall Crowther, currently find themselves on 18. And here is the aforementioned Aaron Smith, who is one of the only drivers out there on the circuit at the moment. But you will see here at Limaland, it is almost one big circle. You can see the line that they've been taking to kick the dirt up high. All of those marbles are very high up on this circuit. We'll go on board with Aaron, actually, so you can see what it's like from inside this little machine. There's tyres on the inside, and they are very tough to avoid, and if you hit them you will go flying. But you can see, even though we're not under lights here, the lightest part of the circuit is very shiny, very sheeny. It's very gravelly and bumpy out there for Aaron, actually, at that point of the circuit. There are a few drivers that are in different practice sessions, so to speak. It only puts 3 or 4 of them on the circuit at a time. Here is Pete Harrod on his way around the circuit. Pete's hoping for a much better time, because last time out at Lanier, in round 4 of the championship, he only got 2 points. He finished 3rd in both of his heats, then didn't get through into the feature. And for this round, the round before that, he won a heat, but he only got 4 points there as well. He got 6 points in the very first race of the season, the very first round, and he finished 3rd in the heats there. As White Van Gaming in the chat saying, I like to think of this series as the GT4 series dirty sister. Absolutely is. It's a very dirty league, this one, but there's a fantastic community behind this. You know, we've got 14 drivers signed up at the moment. We are just 2 drivers away from having 16, which would mean we can have 4 sets of 4, and that would reset us to have only 4 drivers in the feature races as well. So if you are thinking of signing up and you want to jump in for the rest of the season, it's only a tenner. All the content is free, and everybody gets together in Discord and has a really good laugh over it, and the racing is an absolute riot. And even if you just want to come and dip your toe in it for the rest of the season, please do. It'll be really worth it, and it'd be great to have you all on board. This is John Bailiff. As I said, John had a bit of an up and down start to the campaign, but he's got 13 points at the moment, just 2 points behind Martin Kenyon, who I think is... No, he's not on track. Martin's actually sat in the pits. It's good to have Simon Price back with us this evening in the Spontex CDM Esports Unwrapped car. This is the cardboard derivative version of the Spontex CDM Esports livery. Simon's just getting his eye in and just trying to get more and more experience in these cars. Alex Johns is back with us again this evening as Aaron has decided to enter the car park. The Spontex car is Niall Crowther, who is back behind the wheel tonight. He was really fighting for his life at the front of one of the heats in the previous race meeting, and he's excited to be back behind the wheel. Here's Jake Cranstone, 2nd in the championship for the RRRRRWRT team. He and John have been a massive amount of fun to begin this campaign, and they continue to be so, but also leading the team's championship quite considerably. There's Alex Johns in the rollover racing team, hoping that the team name doesn't become apt once again tonight. He's got Niall Crowther just behind him at the moment as the two of them continue on in practice, and there are literal minutes left to go before the evening will properly get underway. The drivers all have a lone qualifying session, so they will only get 3 laps to set a time, and they will do it completely on their own with no other cars around them. So there's no further distractions, but the circuit will stay as it is now with that shiny part up high, and you can see them tucking down low as Alex has had a spin. Jake hits the wall. It's not an easy track, this one, by the look of it, as you can tell. It's one where you've really got to open up every single corner. That's the shiny part of the track there where the concrete is starting to show us. Oh my goodness me. Jake has just decided to annihilate. Get it? Annihilate? Nile? No. Here's Brian Crowley, championship leader. He's just sat in the pit lane at the moment. He's not out putting any laps in. He's got the Track Velocity Racing livery on the car. Currently 5th fastest in the session at present. We also have Michael Jones. He's actually sat in the pit lane as well for Coventry Killer Bees. He's in the same session as Jake Cranstone and Niall Crowther and Alex Johns that we were looking at a moment ago. We also have Martin Kenyon's teammate Riley Sheringham back with us again in car number 17 this evening. The young man has been pushing and pushing to consistently improve, and he's loving his time behind the wheel, saying that he's going to get into a lot more dirt racing series on iRacing to try and sort of expand his horizons, but also giving the things like the Formula 4s a go as well very often in official races is Riley. So it's a fantastic field that we've got. If we look at the times at the moment, you'll see that it's Aaron Smith fastest by nearly a tenth of a second over Jake Cranstone and then John Bailiff. Andy Oakley only a few thousandths ahead of Crowles, is only a few thousandths ahead of Harrod. It's all very, very close. But that's why we love this series so much. It's always close all of the time. Just a minute and 15 seconds left to practice. We'll go on board with Pete Harrod and have a look at how the car is for him from here. It's quite a wide middle sort of line. You have to be so careful like that with Riley there, not to over-rotate it on the way into the corner, and he very stylishly throws it the other way. As Pete decides now to do some donuts for us, and you can hear the little, what I believe are Yamaha 1350cc engines roaring away. Brian Crowles has gone out on track. He wants to show off a little bit before the racing gets underway. Look at him using the high line, trying to open up a groove up there. But as you can see, even when you get onto the back straight and on the main straight, it's not so bad that there's a sheen up there, because when you're in a straight line it's okay. It's when you first pitch the car into the corner. Brian's getting used to this high line for later in the race. You know, I think he's testing how quick it is, although he's had a kiss to the wall there. And okay, Brian, whatever you want to do, son. I can tell you that Aaron Smith has done 37 laps in practice. The man with the most laps is actually Riley Sheringham. He's done 75 laps of practice here. So it's not like the circuit isn't worn in. John Bailiff's done 69 laps. Nice. Andy Oakley's done 71 at this present moment. So it's been a busy session, but it's also a session that is now over. So the drivers will all be taken away from the circuit. Aaron Smith will suddenly disappear very quickly, and we can get all of the racing, or at least the qualifying, underway. And silence falls over Limaland. Let's have a look at Michael Jones, shall we? He's one of the first cars to pop up and eventually get going out of the pit lane. Brian Crowles is also one of the early ones to get moving. So you exit the pit lane, as White Van Gaming points out the egregious use of the word pit lane. It's just the sort of apron in the middle. You exit it just going onto the back straight, but you actually enter at almost the same point. It's like a whole loop. So Michael Jones using a bit of a higher line at the moment, staying in the middle, so he doesn't really worry about over-rotating the car too much. He's really got that right rear out in the groove and out in the dirt. Should give him a lot of traction on that right rear tyre, and look, it's just gliding around there. Quite a lot of lock there, though. I'm going to try and not scrub off as much speed in the front right. Brian Crowles goes fastest over Martin Kenyon, then it's Andy Oakley. And Michael Jones fourth. Bailiff goes quickest by a tenth and a half as well with a 14.502. Great improvement by John Bailiff there. What about Aaron Smith? What's he up to? He crosses the line and doesn't look like a... Nope, never mind. He goes a tenth quicker and goes right to the top. Does Aaron Smith with a 14.386. We once again have 5-lap sprint and heat races here with a 6-lap feature, just to make all of the races that little bit longer. And Aaron Smith completes his qualifying session. Pete Harrod hasn't completed a lap yet. This is his first fast lap just coming to an end right now. And he goes third fastest, does Pete Harrod. He'll be happy with that one because he didn't have such a great qualifying for the first race last time out at Lanier. So we have 2 rounds of the championship per night, everybody. I know I'm not really explaining that very well, but we have 2 rounds each night. Harrod goes second fastest now. These are rounds 5 and 6 of the season, completing the first half of the campaign. Jake Cranstone then dispossesses Pete Harrod of that second place, but Aaron Smith nearly a tenth quicker on a lap that's only 14 seconds long. That's quite terrifying. But look at how Jake just glides the car around. He's not really using much of a steep angle. He's going for the angle that really holds the speed up. Cutting quite low in the first 2 corners, though. And on the back straight, he's staying a bit further away from those tyres, you can see. Doesn't cut quite as low around there. Lets it run it wide to the line. And I think that's going to be it for Jake Cranstoun. Does he improve again? No, he does not. It's a 14.453. And to be fair, his best was a 14.45 as well. So he can't have been far off. But it's looking like Aaron Smith is the man to beat. And he takes pole position, which will put him at the very front of the first heat of the night. Cranstoun will be next up, and then Pete Harrod. And they'll all start on pole position for their heats. Then it's Bailiff, Crowles and Oakley, second position on the grid for all of their heats. Kenyon, Jones and Johns, Sheringham, Price and Crowther. Aaron Smith just letting the engine idle over a bit. Now he's decided that he's going to drive it round a bit more, give it a few more laps, why not? It's a lovely ride around Limaland. This is almost the speedway equivalent of sort of kicking a bit of a groove in the dirt. The riders in motorbike speedway, as this series is based on, all sort of come up to the line and kick the dirt around so the bike gets good traction off the line. And they sort of make a groove so they know exactly where they're going to start and how. I want to give a shout out as well to Carl Jacquelet and Toby Ward, by the way, who are our 2 reserve drivers at the moment of the 14 that we have signed up. Those guys have been on standby just in case any of the lads can't make it tonight, and we are very, very grateful to them, because obviously it's not a nice thing to be able to sort of sit on standby but then not actually get called up for the race meeting. They are unsung heroes of this championship with their commitment, and we're very grateful to have them on board. Aaron Smith then trying to use a higher line, as you see, just practicing as well as Brian Crowles was earlier on. I don't think that he quite realises that the session would stop if he went into the pits, but I'm sure he doesn't care. He's just getting the laps in. Oh, dearie me. And he's landed it as well, everybody. He's got about a 4 for the landing, but to be fair, the little slide along on the roof was very, very elegant. So, the times will tick over in about 30 seconds, I believe, and then it will be all good to go. LOC saying, afternoon Chaz, what troubles are you planning for today? Hopefully no crashing here, to be honest, my friend. I'm just looking forward to exactly what these guys have got up their sleeves. We've got Aaron Smith and Jake Cranstoun and Pete Harrod that will be starting on the pole position for each of their individual heats. Let's not forget we get 3 sets of heats. No, we get 2 sets of 3 heats, yeah, with 4 drivers in each. Such a difficult format to explain sometimes. Anyway, we're going to get going now into the races themselves, so we'll get the drivers all ready and lined up. The first grid of the night will be with us in just a moment, and it's going to be Aaron Smith on the top spot with John Bailiff, and then this man, Martin Kenyon, starting from 3rd place. Riley Sheringham, his teammate, will join him on that 2nd row, so a good chance for both of these guys to score points in this race. As a team, I mean. But one of the problems is that very often, if you're with your teammate in the same race, you can't get maximum points as such. Aaron Smith 2nd in the championship at the moment. Sorry, 3rd in the championship, just behind the man's teammate right next to him, actually. John Bailiff teammates with Jake Cranstoun. It'd be perfect for the virtual reality autosports drivers to be in separate heats away from, obviously, each other, because then they could potentially get 3 points each from their heats, which helps them out big time in the championship. John Bailiff not loading in just yet. I think he's making these guys wait for just a second. A few revs here and there from Riley. You can see the big pace truck in front of us. It's one of the first races that we've had actually in such broad daylight. Sometimes we've had it in very late afternoon. These do sound absolutely mega, these little cars, don't they? But John Bailiff seemingly not joining in. Not quite sure what the situation is there. He's keeping the guys waiting, I think. We hope to get John in. Hopefully there's no technical or anything. Either that or he's just gone for a wee before the race. We've had it happen before. He's got 30 seconds before they get going. And they are getting going. So I'm not quite sure what's happened to John Bailiff, but each of these guys, so long as they finish this race, will score points here. They should all get a good chance at it. So you get 3 points for winning your heat, 2 points for 2nd place, and 3 points for 3rd. No, you don't. Sorry, I was reading something else on my screen then. You get 3 points for finishing in first place, 2 points for second, and then 1 point for third. Ignore me, I'm having one of those days, everybody. I'm having one of those days. So Riley is respectfully staying at the back there, waiting for the gap. Pace truck pulls in. And the first race of the night here at Limaland, as the lights come on, gets underway, and Aaron Smith is going to lead the two virtual reality autosport cars away. And he's going to easily open up an advantage in the first moments. Oh, Riley Sheringham's already kissed the barrier. But Martin Kenyon, I tell you, Martin's been really impressive this season. He's trying to close back in on Aaron Smith. And look, they're both going above that sheen there because they don't want to risk having too much rotation midway through the race. They're almost driving straight over it. It's alright if you get your inside tyres on it, but if you get the outside tyres on it, it's absolutely horrible because that's when the car just has no grip whatsoever and it just floats absolutely sideways and doesn't get any point of traction on the exit of the corner. No, LOC, I'm so sorry, that was me explaining things badly. So it's 3-2-1 basically for first, second and third, and then if you finish the race in fourth, you get no points at all. But Aaron Smith is on his way for 3 points at the moment to start his evening off in the best possible fashion. And who would bet against him, really? Aaron is such a talent, such a lovely guy as well. He's always been good fun to have in my leagues and championships and all sorts. He's raced in the Vertex Stock Car Cup before, multiple champion of that series. And he's crossing the line to take the victory in the first race of the night. And it's a great job with Martin Kenyon in second, Riley Sheringham bagging some points early. Well done to the virtual reality autosport guys for getting the job done there. Unfortunate though for John Bailiff, not quite sure what on earth happened there. He is still connected to Discord, which is where all the drivers are communicating, but we do not see him in the race. Michael Jones will start third in this one with championship leader Brian Crowles on the front row. He's actually alongside Jake Cranstone, who is currently second in the championship. Simon Price joins them on the second row of the grid for Spontex CDM Esports Unwrapped. 4 different teams in this one. And the guys are already all on the grid and prepared. So we get heats 1, 2 and 3, and then we get the D main, C main and B main. And then we get the feature race. The feature race will feature 6 drivers. So in the second run through of these heats, the top 2 drivers go through into the feature race at the end of the night. And you get 4 points for winning those races instead of 3.
Green.
And we get underway. The spotter's a little bit eager there, isn't he? But we are underway for the second heat of the night, and Jake Cranstone tucks it down low very nicely. Michael Jones tries not to wash up wide into Brian Crowles, who takes that high line once again around the outside, trying to get the run off the corner. You've just got to be so careful of the barrier up top that you don't clatter into it, because it's so easy to do that time after time. But Jake Cranstone with a very early lead, looking really comfortable at the moment. We go to the TV camera down low at the bottom of the circuit. Jake is sticking ahead of Brian. The tidy advantage. Michael Jones just behind these guys. Holds third for now, but he's lost it. The back end steps away, and I think Simon Price is going to go around the outside of him. Still side by side down the back straight they go. That's for the final point. Simon's going to try and cut underneath him now. Is he able to get the cut back? He is not at this point. Simon does have 1 championship point to his name. He got that in the very first race meeting of the season. Has a bit of a wobble there himself. I think Michael Jones has just kissed the barrier as well. But back up at the front, Jake Cranstone has held on beautifully here. And it's looking likely that he's going to be able to hold this lead over Brian Crowles, and it's important for Aaron Smith that, and for Jake, that they get one over on Brian early on. But Jake Cranstone, round the final corner, takes the race victory in the first heat of the night for these guys. Brian Crowles crossing the line in second place, and then Michael Jones getting a championship point on the board there for his team. Very well done to Michael, and we move on to now the third heat race of the night. Andy Oakley starring in this one as well. Andy's been brilliant. We've got Alex Johns and Niall Crowther on the second row of the grid. Alex Johns is one of the sponsors of the sim racing magazine GT4 Challenge as well as Bespoke Shelters. It's great to have Alex on board. He's a lovely bloke. But 2 Spontex CDM Esports cars in this race. I think it's the first time they've been on track together as well. Cars 21 and 26. Pete Harrod and Niall Crowther. Pete starting on pole position here after qualifying third outright. Definitely one of the favourites for this. Andy Oakley though, I mean, in that sort of retro Miller branded machine, has been such a menace near the front, taking points and points and points. He's got 5 heat race wins so far this season. Does Andy Oakley. Pete Harrod's got 3. Pete gets a bit of a delayed start, but gets it quite high up on the exit of turns 1 and 2. Oakley looks for a lower line, tries not to kiss the wall, as Niall Crowther tries to get the best of Alex Johns. He's just taken a tighter angle, but Alex has pushed him down low. The two of them having a bit of a wiggle and a dance there as they try and get it together for the next set of corners. And Niall's had a bit of a moment one way, then the other, and then the other. It's a great save by Niall. Just tried to go down the inside of Alex, and it understeered that little bit. Pete Harrod's opened up a gap now of about half a second over Andy Oakley. But Andy takes a really early entrance to the corner and somehow recovers it. Does a great job at just keeping the car floating sideways. It seems like he's taking a much shallower angle than Pete, but he still gets the same level of rotation on it. Niall is chasing down Alex Johns for his 2nd championship point of the season. It's not working at the moment, but it's 0.4 of a second. He's always got a better run off the corner, it seems. Gets the car very sideways. Can he get the cutback and get him down the straight? He's got the run for that 3rd position. Harrod stays ahead of Oakley going on to the final lap, and Niall's got very sideways, but Alex has on the exit. Niall's going to try and go around the outside. Pete Harrod's going to cross the line and take the win over Andy Oakley for Spontex CDM Esports, and it's going to be side by side at the end, is it? No, Alex has lost it. Niall nearly clips the wall, and the race goes the way of Pete Harrod, with Andy Oakley in 2nd, Niall Crowther finishing in 3rd, but an entertaining battle between himself and Alex Johns. Commiserations to Alex for losing out on that point, but great entertainment once again. Like I say, you only need 2 drivers in a race to have an exciting one. And these guys showed us with just 4 drivers over 5 laps, it can be a lot of fun. So we go back to the front again because John Bailiff is now on the grid here. He's starting on pole for the 2nd heat of the night for this set. But right now, he's on 0 points for the meeting. I'm not quite sure what worked for him there. He said iRacing didn't want me to take part in that one. So I'm not quite sure what. It wasn't letting him join or something like that. But seemingly the issue is now fixed. He's got Riley Sheringham alongside him, Martin Kenyon and Aaron Smith. 2 virtual reality autosport cars hoping to score big points here.
Green flag.
And away they go. Bailiff plants his foot. The 2 VRA cars following him have to be really careful. Kenyon nearly gives him a bit of a bump there. Is Aaron Smith trying to go around the outside of Riley? No, he's actually got back down the inside of him. And now he's going to go chasing Martin, but John's understeered a little bit wide there. Can the guys behind get a cut back? Riley's gone really low and nearly got the better of Aaron Smith, but that line just doesn't carry the speed. Here is Aaron now, up on that higher line, chasing down Martin Kenyon. Whoa, Bailiff's gone really slowly into 3 and 4. Aaron tries to find the gap down the inside. The car bobbles one way, then the other, and Kenyon's been caught out by it. Nothing untoward in any direction there, but unfortunately, Aaron's car just bobbled in front of Martin and he couldn't quite get out of the way in time. And now he's hit the barrier on the back straight. And he's going to lose it and he's going to be off in the wall. Riley Sheringham's going to go through, then overtakes his teammate. And John Bailiff, well, he's come from not being able to enter the first race, coming through to potentially win the second one. What about Aaron Smith, though? What can he do? We'll go on board with him. Look at the amount of lock he's having to use there just by dipping that right rear wheel onto the shiny part of the track. Aaron's car control is something else, but he gets the car to spit out on the exit. John's really sideways, but I think he's got this one wrapped up. Bailiff comes from no points in the first race, and he's going to take 3 points in the second. You love to see it. Aaron Smith takes 2 points, and Riley Sheringham is going to score a championship point as well for his trouble. He got one earlier on, and that's his 2nd points finish of the evening, but commiserations there to Martin Kenyon. Unfortunately, Aaron just slipped that tiny bit wide and bobbled in front of him, and then he wasn't able to get the car going and out of the way. Okay, here's the C main, the 2nd of our what's known as consolation races. Basically, it flips the grid round and repeats the same heat. Simon Price on pole, Michael Jones alongside him, then Brian Crowles and Jake Cranstone on the 2nd row of this grid. We'll go on board with Brian, actually, so you can see just how much of a reduced pace it is on these green flag laps. They usually have 2 of these to complete. But what we do is we have drivers ready on standby to input the command in the sim to tell it to just do the 1. Otherwise, I'd have to fill for even longer. Can you imagine that? I know you lot don't want to listen to me anyway, but it's part and parcel, I'm afraid. So Simon Price in the cardboard machine is getting ready to go. I'm not quite sure what Michael Jones is playing at on that high line, but he's left it very late and he's tried to get a run on him. And Brian Crowles has made it work. Oh, Michael's just ploughed straight into the back of Simon and bounced off him. Michael's had an accident, and Jake Cranstone's had a blinder. He's gone down the inside of everybody and taken the position. But look at Brian Crowles on the high line. This is why we love circuits like this, because you've got the slower low line that's harder to get the car tucked in on the exit. But then Brian running that higher speed line up top where he can get a slingshot on him. The two of them right together. Brian has to compromise halfway around the corner, and Simon Price can somehow try and take advantage of this. Doesn't quite work straight away. Puts his nose down the inside. Car doesn't get as sideways as he wanted, as Brian's got up high. Brian's hit the wall. The championship leader's in trouble. He's around, and Simon Price is into him big time. Oh, Simon's rolling and rolling and rolling and spinning around. It's a breakdance by the legend, and that is played right into the hands of Jake Cranstone, especially in terms of the championship, because Jake is second in the series. Simon Price's car absolutely ruined. That's such a shame. Simon was in perfect place to take advantage of that, but Jake can take it easy now. Michael Jones might be able to take it easy as well, because Brian's about a second behind him. So as long as he doesn't absolutely ruin this final lap, Michael's actually going to end up getting 2 points. But Jake Cranstone, well, for the second time this evening, takes a victory and gets 3 points. Michael Jones takes 2 points. And Brian Crowles, importantly, getting just the one from that race. He's going to be ruining that mistake there up into the barrier. But wow, busy, busy stuff. Very, very exciting. Simon's put in the chat, help, I'm upside down. As now we wait for the next guys to get moving. It's Johns and Crowther on the front row, Oakley and Harrod on the second row. Spontex CDM Esports with 2 cars up on the outside line there. Pete Harrod hoping that he can work together with his teammate. Andy Oakley on the inside line is definitely going to be a threat here. Then again, there's only 4 drivers in the race, so all of them are a threat. Let's see how they do. We've got 2 warm-up laps this time. Like I say, we don't always get it spot on. These guys get an extra lap of the circuit. Straight away, though, I have to tell you, Brian Crowles has apologised straight away in Discord to Simon Price, because he made the mistake that then caused the contact. It's just lovely. These guys all get on so well. Niall Crowther's been caught out there, and Alex Johnson's gone a bit early, to say the least, unfortunately. They do usually go when the lights go green. But he wasn't to know. I don't think he saw the brief. As Niall's got very sideways. Pete's down his inside. Pete has to slam on the Civil War. And now it is Alex Johns that continues to lead the way. He's got 7/10 gap. Andy Oakley's using that high line way up top to sweep around the outside. Oh, Alex has had the back end out, and Andy's going to go through. Takes the place. Is Niall Crowther around nearly? A civil war, honestly, between the Spontex cars at the back. Alex Johns back down the inside now of Andy Oakley, but he's just found understeer. All he got out of that was understeer. He's on for 2 points at this moment, though. So can he try and get the better of Andy? Niall's again gone sideways as well. Nearly takes out Pete Harrod this time. Pete gets himself in a point-scoring position. Shows you, though, it's not easy, this championship, at all. Andy's really making that high line work. He's making it look beautiful as well, isn't he? Andy finished second place earlier on behind Pete Harrod. This time around, he's going to take some important championship points and get that win. But what about Alex Johns? Is he able to beat Pete Harrod to the line? He absolutely is. Alex Johns, second place in that heat. Very well done. Pete Harrod finishing third. Niall Crowther, unfortunately, after his spin, comes home in fourth position. But it shows you how the changing circuit conditions can be mighty, mighty tough. So let's have a run back through the heat results, shall we? So we can have a look at how all of that went. Because we now have a warm-up session. Goodness me, that was a lot louder than expected. So Aaron Smith won the first heat race of the evening, with Martin Kenyon next up in second place, and Riley Sheringham finishing in third. John Bailiff did not take to the grid, though, for some reason. It just wouldn't let him join the race, so hopefully it's worked out since then for John. Jake Cranstow next up takes a very important win in Heat 2 of the night over his rival Brian Crowles. The championship leader coming here hasn't scored a Heat win yet. Michael Jones was just behind, with Simon Price in fourth place for Spontex CDM Esports Unwrapped. The third set got underway with Pete Harrod taking a race victory over Andy Oakley, who's been oh so consistent this season. Niall Crowther gets his second championship point of the season ahead of Alex Johns. We then moved on to the D-Main, C-Main and B-Main races, as they're called, and John Bailiff and Aaron Smith get themselves positions into the feature for the night. No virtual reality autosport cars in the feature, unfortunately, for this round 5 of the championship, but still, they're going to be watching from the sidelines with great interest. Jake Cranstone and Michael Jones are the next two that make it through, so importantly, we forgot to mention, or I forgot to mention, sorry, that Brian Crowles will not make it through into the feature. He misses out on the chance to score big points there, with Simon Price also missing out with a 4th place finish in that one. That also means that Andy Oakley and Alex Johns are the two drivers that go through from the B main into the final, so Michael Jones and Alex Johns, I think, making their first appearances in feature races this season, which will be exciting to see. We'll have to check out how these guys get on. I hope you're enjoying the show so far, everybody. It's certainly a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun from the driver's perspective. They're all absolutely loving it, and I'm absolutely loving it as well. It's been great fun putting this series on already. We're only at the halfway point of the season, though, once this race meeting finishes, and it'll only get better from there. It'll continue on, and we'll obviously try and refine it for future seasons and just try and get more people involved. Look here at John Bailiff just putting some laps in. John's through into the feature. So too are Michael Jones and Alex Johns, who are both out there on the circuit with them. That is Alex Johns just on the outside line, car 84. Alex making a top effort in that previous race, although he's... Oh, dearie me, Alex. Yeah, those posts don't move, unfortunately. He's bashed right into that. There's Aaron Smith using the high line. That's the thing with these cars, though. You've got to think about it. They are open-wheel cars because the wheels don't completely enclose... the arches don't completely enclose the wheels. So you have to really think about it when you're going up near a wall. It's not the easiest thing to do. Jake Cranstone then hoping to take away championship points from Brian Crowles. I can tell you that at this moment, Jake actually leads the championship on 33 points. Brian Crowles and Aaron Smith are tied on 32 with Andy Oakley in 4th. The other moves in the field are Niall Crowther, actually, with that 1 point he's moved ahead of Simon Price and Carl Jackalette. And Rapid Rocking Rebel Rascals Racing Round and Round World Racing Team still lead the team's championship. The guys just continue to get their practice in then before the final race of round 5. But then don't forget, everybody, we then go to round 6 of the championship, where we'll be back at Lanier. Sorry, not Lanier. We won't be going to Lanier at all. We're going to Limaland once again for the second race meeting as such of the night, which will be round 6 of the series. It'll be in slightly different conditions. The track will get a bit of a reset, a bit of a comb, and the drivers can then try once again, and they get equal opportunity to get going once more. None of the results in this affect the next race meeting. They're treated as completely separate meetings with a big reset button hit between the two. Aaron right up there in all the muck and dirt on turns 3 and 4 as yeah, he tries to wall ride it. Now that's a different take on the Ross Chastain situation. So, music will fade, and so will the warm-up session. The drivers will be getting going back on track in just a minute, and we'll get 6 of them out there, which will be Aaron Smith, Jake Cranstone, John Bailiff, Michael Jones, Alex Johns, and I believe the other driver was Andy Oakley. So no Pete Harrod or Niall Crowther, no Riley Sheringham, no Martin Kenyon, no Simon Price in this feature race to complete round 5. It should go quiet in about 15 seconds. You can see just how small this tiny circuit is there. You can see the people around there just spectating on the outset. That guy's arms down there must be absolutely killing him. Don't forget to like and subscribe, though, to Chaz Draycott Media, everybody. If you like the video and like the stream, it would really help me out. I'd appreciate it a lot. It's great to have all of you watching wherever you may be around the world. I really do appreciate it. And I know this is only a very small, fun series, but we don't take ourselves too seriously here. We just enjoy ourselves and have a great time. That's what it's all about, isn't it? So, the cars make their way to the grid, and it's Alex Johns that's going to start this feature race on pole position with Michael Jones behind. It's then Aaron Smith and Andy Oakley next up on the second row of the grid. Jake Cranstone and his teammate John Bailiff round out the back of the field, Minardi style. And they're both going to be looking for big points in the championship, but really, they are looking very comfortable as inaugural teams champions. Aaron Smith, he's going to be the one to watch, because from that inside line, he could very easily take a win here. Jake Cranstone's got a little bit more work to do than him. Michael Jones and Alex Johns, they're not the quickest boys in the field, on paper anyway. So they're going to have to try and work on staying at the front and holding their ground. Alex Johns is the one that basically determines when they go.
Green, green, green.
And the lights come on and off they go, and well, Alex has bogged down off the start, and Andy Oakley goes from the high line straight to the low line, absolutely nails it. Aaron Smith actually has to slam on. Jones is up in the wall. Bailiff is sideways. Alex Johns tries to go through the middle line, and Aaron Smith has gone straight to the front, but look at Andy Oakley up high. Oh, Johns and Cranstone in contact, and Cranstone is off in the wall. Cranstone, championship protagonist, bouncing off the barriers. Aaron Smith's having a big old wobble on the exit now, and Andy Oakley fancies a shot at that. Andy hasn't won a feature race this season, and he's now coming back down the inside. Doesn't make it work this time round, but he's certainly on the attack. Alex Johns and John Bailiff side by side now. You still only get the top 3 positions scoring points here, so you have to be in it to win it in those top 3 places. Alex Johns trying to get that final point, but John Bailiff hoping to have secured it with that move around the outside. But it's Aaron Smith who's looking like he's going to take 4 championship points here. I have to apologise to Aaron because the points were miscalculated before this round. He had a point missing because he won the previous one in round 4. Jake Cranstone's trying to recover here and get back past Alex Johns. It's not quite working for him yet as Alex has his own moment, and there's more contact. Nothing untoward from Jake there. I think it was just caught out by Alex's pace around there. But Aaron Smith powering away at the front of the field to hold on to that lead. Look at John Bailiff using the low line. He's had an exciting night so far. As Oakley, well, he's hit the wall, and Bailiff's trying to make that low line work again. It's Aaron Smith, though, to the fore and to the front to take the win. What about second place? Andy Oakley over John Bailiff. And that was mighty, mighty close, though. A real resurgence there at the end by John Bailiff. But he gets the individual point at the end, and Aaron Smith, I'm sure, is about to give us some donuts. I'm just going to try anyway. And there you go, everybody. Aaron Smith, that's his 3rd feature race win of the season. Only he and Brian Crowles have won feature races so far. That's his 2nd one on the bounce. And we'll just confirm the result of that feature race there. Aaron Smith takes the win then over Andy Oakley and John Bailiff. Jake Cranstone misses out, doesn't score points in the feature. Pete Harrod and the like will be happy with that, especially Brian Crowles, because he was right behind him in the standings. And it's Alex Johns and Michael Jones who unfortunately weren't able to hold on. That does mean that Aaron Smith has a 3-point lead in the championship over Jake Cranstone, who is now 1 point ahead of Brian Crowles, who is then 3 points ahead of Andy Oakley. That is just how close it is in this championship, everyone. It is mighty, mighty fine margins that we're dealing with. What we're going to do, though, here on Chaz Draycott Media is just go for a quick break. That was the end of round 5 of the championship, and in just a moment's time, we're then going to get into the next session here on iRacing, and we're going to crack on with what's going to be round 6 of the series. So we will be right back, everybody. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be back at Limaland in just a sec.
4 French drivers at the French Grand Prix trying to win this on the final lap. The 3 wide again, Guillaume down the inside. Guillaume moves across, they're both in front of Milan and Pouget.
But before you know it, we find ourselves here in the very final race of the competition. And then they see truck racing and they think, this is crazy, you know, these are 5-ton machines, 1200 horsepower brake.
Oh, look at that switchback. Oh, he's been loved and a terrific show off.
Ben Gregory now, I love it. 18.5 minutes gone. Senna Lanson tries to go for the race lead.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
So as mentioned, everybody, we're just getting into the second session of the night for round 6 of the CDM Speedway Super League. If you just bear with us a couple of minutes, we'll be back in and then we'll get the racing back underway. We're going to do all of that again and replay all of that fun. So we'll be back with you in a second.
Because it's you and only you.
Hello everybody, so we're back then for round 6 of the championship here in the CDM Speedway Super League. I do try and keep those little breaks as short as possible, but the drivers have just had the session advanced now, so they're going to be going into practice for the next race of the evening. It's going to be qualifying once again, and Andy Oakley makes his way back out onto the circuit first. As you can see, the circuit is nowhere near as shiny as it was in the first race of the night. There's a little bit of it on the outside, but it's sort of taken back slightly, and the dirt has been relayed in a lot of places. The drivers have to get used to it now all over again. But the conditions are slightly different too, as it's not quite as shiny as it was before. And it's not as broad daylight either. You can see, look, the grip very different for Andy this time round, so he's having to compensate a little bit more compared to what he used last time out. Smith is fastest by half a second at the beginning of this second qualifying session. And Niall Crowther is second fastest at the minute. Pete Harrod just about beats him by 2/10. Niall's actually had a bit of a bump, it seems, as the car has got a bit of damage on it. Simon Price goes 5th fastest. There's a big spread in the field. John Bailiff now goes through and sets a time. What about Brian Crowles? He goes 3rd fastest. And all 12 have got a time on the board. Only 6/10 separating a lot of them. Riley Sheringham and Niall Crowther right in the middle. Andy Oakley actually down in 9th place. He won't be too chuffed with that one. Pete Harrod qualifying 4th as the current times stand, as Jake Cranstone just beats his teammate John Bailiff to go 2nd fastest, just behind Aaron Smith. Smith once again proving, though, straight out of the blocks that he is the guy to beat as he cocks a wheel. He's just having fun with it at this point, is Aaron. If you go on Aaron's Twitter, you'll see a very funny post saying that, just know that if I've ever beaten you on iRacing, you were beaten by this, and he shows just how low he has his graphics settings in the sim. It's to the point where some of the trees are just leaves floating in the air and there's no actual trunks to them. And if anybody knows what iRacing's trees usually look like, they're just a 2D image. That shows you just how far down Aaron turns the graphics in the interests of having the smoothest frame rate possible. But he's a lovely guy, like I say, a great addition to the campaign, and a real sort of yardstick for a lot of drivers as well. He's very talented, is Aaron. I say that just as he has a really big crash, but he's I swear down, he is very talented and very quick. Trust me, I will say it a lot. Thank you to those of you that stuck around in the stream. I know that the interval, unfortunately, is a bit of a time for people to jump away and disappear, but thank you to those of you that have stuck around for this. I wish we could give you some sort of extra reward. If White Van Gaming's around, maybe you could throw some Seabrooks crisps at you. But let's make sure that we have another very exciting meeting here between these guys. Aaron's just absolutely hanging the back end of this car out, isn't he? Absolutely hanging the back end out. It's great to watch. I love the sheen and what they call the bump mapping here on iRacing. These guys have now completed all their laps. Everybody's done at least 3 laps, so the session should advance in just a moment. And you can see, look, the wheels do stick out of these arches. And there you go. Qualifying is now complete. So it's going to be Aaron Smith that's going to start on pole position, with these guys joining him. Pete Harrod, Riley Sheringham and Simon Price on the grid with him for the first heat in round 6 of the season. This is going to complete the first half of the championship, and then we get to do it all over again in the same sort of rotation. USA International, then going to Lanier, and then Limaland. Pete Harrod does one of his usual little burnouts off the line and gets a move in. Riley Sheringham on the inside line scored 2 points in the previous one. 2 third places in his heat. He's going to want to do that again. Aaron Smith nearly took maximum points with a first place in a heat, a second place in a heat, and then a feature win. Let's see what he can do this time. The lights come on and they're underway for round 6 of the CDM Speedway Super League from Limaland. And Aaron keeps it very, very low down. Riley Sheringham, whoa, somehow misses Simon Price and Pete Harrod, but he's overdone it straight away. And Simon Price finds himself in a position to get an easy championship point. Pete Harrod now trying to go chasing after Aaron. He kisses the wall. That's going to feel like death on a direct drive wheel like Pete uses. Swinging the back end out again and trying just to keep a tight angle. Riley Sheringham has ended up in the pits, so I'm not quite sure what's happened to his car, but clearly the damage too much from earlier. That's good news for Simon Price, though, in the Spontex CDM Esports Unwrapped livery. He's going to be able to get a championship point. I think that will be his second point of the championship. That'll tie him with Niall Crowther, who got only his second point earlier. Aaron Smith looking unreal at the moment. This is the finest form we've seen Aaron in, to be fair, and we know that even when he's not in perfect form, he's absolutely rapid anyway. 5 laps per each heat here at Limaland. But Aaron is looking very, very strong. Pete Harrod not fading away, though. The gap is only 0.8 of a second. but it's one tiny little over-rotation that can throw it all away. As dearie me, speak about throwing it away. Aaron Smith was crazy close to the wall up there. Simon Price gets a championship point. He'll be happy with that. Aaron Smith takes 3 to take back-to-back wins. He's only done that once before, and it was at the end of round 2 and the beginning of round 3, but there was a week between those. This time, it was mere minutes. Then again, I tell a lie, I did that after round 4 and round 5 as well. So, second heat of the night. Jake Cranstone and Brian Crowles once again will do battle with each other. And it's Niall Crowther and Alex Johns on the second row of the grid to get going this time. Brian now third in the championship with Jake second. So these two, certainly the big hitters, just behind Aaron Smith. I'm excited to see how this one looks though. It's going to be a spicy battle between these top two, this Battle of the Titans. Brian is sticking with him. Lights come on and they get going, and it's a very even start between the two. Brian has to take a bit of a wider line. Could get on the throttle a bit sooner, but no, Jake's done really well. Straight out the blocks there. Niall Crowther holds on to third place ahead of Alex Johns. You can see the understeer of the car there, just trying to dig away at him, but he holds that position. Alex Johns in fourth place, trying to stick with him. You have to excuse me, a massive fly has just flown into my monitor and scared the life out of me. But right now, it is Jake Cranstone that is the leader of the pack, and he's doing everything right for this heat. Going to take another point away from Brian Crowles. That's the savage nature of this series. Each race is just one potential point away from your rivals. But as we saw before, even Aaron Smith can push his luck a little bit too much and get very close to the wall when he's in a lead position and he's not putting himself under pressure. Niall Crowther taking a bit of a high line there. Ooh, a bit of a wiggle on the exit. These cars do break away very easily. There is the view back from Jake Cranstone. I love the shine on the surface here. It's absolutely awesome. I can guarantee you they're pretty much flat out everywhere around this circuit. As Brian Crowles taps the wall a little bit. Nearly overdoes it. But no, that's a great performance, that one, once again, by Jake Cranstone, taking 3 points. Brian Crowles takes 2, and Niall Crowther gets a point on the board for Spontex CDM Esports. Alex Johns, unfortunately, just missing out that time round. But again, you've got to be in it to win it, and it's great to have Alex on board. Next race now, gridding up, which is Michael Jones in 4th place. He's got Andy Oakley next to him. Now, Andy qualified 9th just before. He's going to be hoping that his races go a little bit better than qualifying did. But it's Martin Kenyon and John Bailiff on the front row of the grid. John had a great run last time out. Martin had a couple of little knocks and incidents here and there and wasn't as clean as his run at Lanier. But the number 3 machine is one of the best of the rest in this championship at the moment, away from the big hitters. Same with John Bailiff. So it's exciting to see what they can make of this start. Martin just creeping ahead a little bit there according to the timing. John's on the inside, and the lights go out and away they go. Very tidy, very formal start, that one, by the look of it. Andy Oakley's now down the inside of Martin Kenyon. Martin's gone way too high, bashed off the wall. Michael Jones involved as well, into the back of him. Wasn't really anything he could do. And I think Martin, it looked like a bit of frustration through 3 and 4 there, pushing a bit hard. Tidy start by John Bailiff, though. Very, very tidy start. Andy Oakley has now moved himself up into a position where he can score 2 points instead of the 1. And trust me, when you double your score, that's not a bad night at the office, is it? But John is looking comfortable with this car. Back end really far out. Round turns 3 and 4. Again, they're just floating sideways on the exit. They really do wash up wide into that wall so easily. Oh, a bit of a tight angle there. Kenyon hasn't disappeared backwards here, though, you know. He's actually putting a lot of pressure on Andy Oakley, and you can hear that he's flat, just balancing the steering. One more lap to go after this, and he's using that high line well, but Andy's just got a decent pinch off the final corner, and he's able to get it thrown out across the start-finish straight. This is looking great for John Bailiff, though. This is exactly what he wanted after not being able to take part in the earlier race. And it's going to be a win for John Bailiff. Andy Oakley second place, Martin Kenyon finishes in 3rd. Michael Jones, unfortunately, that time misses out on points. Maybe down to the contact that he had with Martin, but then again, it's just a honest mistake on Martin's part. And I'm sure they'll apologise and speak to each other in Discord, as these guys so often do. So we're moving to the second set of heats for the night, and it's going to be Riley Sheringham and Simon Price on the front row of the grid. Virtual Reality Autosports alongside Spontex CDM Esports Unwrapped, and it's Pete Harrod and Aaron Smith, who before the season started were two of the definite favourites. Pete had a bit of an unlucky round at Lanier and hasn't really recovered so far during this one. He got 4 points earlier, he's on 2 points so far, so even if he finished second in this one, he'd equal his score from round 5 before having the opportunity to get through. Now don't forget everybody, the top 2 finishers in these races go through into the feature, so there's not just points on offer here, but there's also the chance to score more than everybody else.
Green.
Riley sped up a bit there before the green lights went. Simon Price may be caught out by it slightly. Pete Harrod's down the inside, and Aaron Smith with a lovely cutback down the inside there on Simon Price. Aaron uses the low line, tries to avoid any slippery bits of the track, and he's actually in front of Riley. Riley keeps it up high. Can he keep that high line working for him? Pete Harrod's almost sort of adopted this middle line on the way into the corner, then really punching it out on the exit. And look at that, Riley's got a cutback there down the inside of Aaron Smith. I think he's gone a little bit hot though, but Harrod's there as well. Aaron has to get out of it. There's contact, and the championship leader is in the wall. Pete put his car down the inside, tried the move, and he's put himself into the race lead. Simon Price is second for Spontex CDM Esports Unwrapped, and Riley is carried on in third, but with what damage? Is the car broken? Is he able to carry on at full chat? It certainly looks like it's not behaving itself. But Pete Harrod, well, he was well within his rights to put the car there. Aaron corrected and straightened up, and it put the two of them in the wall. Nobody is immune from contact in this series, that's safe to say. Aaron is now chasing Riley for that final point-scoring position in this race. But that's part and parcel, like I say. I think Riley's car is a bit broken and won't go full throttle here. Certainly not got the power out the corners. There's nearly more contact between the two of them. Aaron parks it in front of Riley as he gets down the inside, hoping not to have the advantage taken. But Pete Harrod is looking very likely to be the winner here, although he already has won it. Never mind, apologies. I thought he was going on to the final lap, but he'd already finished it. I'm so sorry, everyone. That was second place, though, going the way of Simon Price, so he gets 2 points for that one, and then a point for Aaron Smith, who takes that right at the end. So busy, busy stuff. We move on to the next one. That is Pete Harrod and Simon Price through into the final. So no final for Aaron Smith. Unbelievable stuff. I think he's scored points in every final so far as Aaron. No, the very first one of the season and the third one of the season. He did not score points. Brian Crowles and Jake Cranstone on the second row of the grid here. As the lights have come on at Limaland. You could see the shine there as they go around the exit of turns 1 and 2 on Pete Harrod's car earlier on. Niall Crowther in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing all right. Hope you're enjoying your night at least, Niall, with some championship points, as you say. A point in round 5 and now a point in round 6.
Green.
Lights come on. They're almost stationary, and well, Jake Cranstone has absolutely mugged the boys there and gone through the middle. Jake has to straighten up though and run wide. Oh, not quite sure what's gone on there. Has Jake had an issue? Now, Jake said he had surgery on his foot last time out and was having to rest it. But Brian Crowles has got the lead with Niall Crowther with him. Not quite sure what's happened to Jake, but he's dropping pace here. Not a clue, but Brian Crowles and Niall Crowther. No, Niall Crowles and Brian Crowther. They're having a great old scrap at the front. Niall's keeping that car way down low. I'm not sure if there was like a false start or something for Jake there, and he's taking himself out of the running with it, because he was in front before they crossed the line, I think. We'll have to wait and see what the verdict was, but Crowles, the fact is at the moment that he leads this race from Niall, with Jake Cranstone in third position. I'm not sure how much that will count. We may have to just stick around and see what the points do at the very end. Alex Johns trying to just recover the car there. It seemed like he changed down for a second. Once you get in top gear in these things, you want to just stay in it and keep your foot planted. Crowther might come under attack here from Cranstone in this final circulation. Jake using a low line to try and catch up. But I think it's going to be Brian Crowles this time round. He's going to finally take a victory here at Limaland. That's his first win of the night. Crowther takes second place. Good championship points for Niall. Jake Cranstone finishes in third. I'm not sure if there might have been some sort of penalty from that, as Alex Johns crosses the line and completes the field. So Crowles and Crowther go through. So no Aaron Smith and no Jake Cranstone in the feature here in round 6. That is big, big news. So let's move on one more. And it's Michael Jones, Martin Kenyon, Andy Oakley, and John Bailiff in this one. Speedway-esque, because on my timing screen I've got white, red, yellow, and blue, which are the 4 helmet colours that you usually get in the motorbike racing speedway. It's Michael Jones that's going to lead us away. He's got Martin Kenyon on his outside in car number 3. Andy Oakley and John Bailiff will be hoping that they get a start similar to what happened in the last one, actually, with the guys sat behind, ready to jump off the line. Pace truck moves in. Michael Jones is the one to lead the pack.
Green, green, green.
Lights come on, and Kenyon is gone. Kenyon has absolutely disappeared. Throws the car in sideways. Andy Oakley kicks the back end out. Michael Jones around the inside line. Can't get the speed that he wants on the exit. Andy Oakley's forced to go up high there, and John Bailiff wants to cut underneath. Kenyon around the outside takes the lead in this one. But what about the three-way fight behind? Because Michael Jones is on the low line. Bailiff's found himself on this sort of middle line, and Andy Oakley's right up top, very close 3 wide, and Bailiff's going to go around the outside of Michael Jones. Great move, but the car's gone tight on the exit on him. And what about Oakley? Oakley sweeps around the outside now. This is exactly what the racing's supposed to be like. This is awesome. The many different lines. Jones has to tuck it in on the exit of turns 1 and 2 and just loses out. Oakley's trying to make that outside line work. Kenyon's still up there. Oh, big wobble from John Bailiff. That's going to help Andy Oakley out. That might give him the point position. But Martin Kenyon, what a lead he's had at the moment for Virtual Reality Autosports. Not sure if Martin's actually had a heat win so far this season. He has actually won in round 4 of the championship back at Lanier. He's got one more lap to hold on here ahead of these guys. Michael Jones has had a drama and has had to jump to the pits. But these three are all separated by about half a second at this moment. John Bailiff not quite able to beat Andy Oakley here. He's going to go for a send down the inside at the final corner. But Martin Kenyon takes the heat victory. Andy Oakley next up. Those two go through. John Bailiff just misses out. But what a race that was. That was really, really good fun, that one. And that means that we are now going to get prepared for the final heat of the evening. So we'll get some music on and we'll have a look over the results of those heats. I can't breathe. I'm going to have to stop for a drink in just a moment, everybody, after we look at these heat results. But this is how it shaped up so far this evening. Aaron Smith wins the first heat ahead of Pete Harrod. Simon Price gets a point, and Riley Sheringham finishes just behind. After that, Jake Cranstone then went on to beat Brian Crowles, with Niall Crowther getting a championship point for his troubles ahead of Alex Johns. Not quite sure why I said Alex really strangely then. Sorry, mate. John Bailiff was next up taking a win, with Andy Oakley just with him. Martin Kenyon and Michael Jones 3rd and 4th. Martin Kenyon getting the championship point. Then we had the races that decided who went to the feature. Pete Harrod and Simon Price make me very happy with 2 Spontex cars going into the final. Aaron Smith misses out though, and so too does Riley Sheringham, who had an appearance in a feature earlier on in the season. Niall Crowther then takes the win in his race, so I'm pretty sure that Jake Cranstone and Brian Crowles both got penalties. So Crowther and Johns both take points there. So Niall Crowther takes the initial point. Brian Crowles is actually qualified, or classified I should say, in 3rd. And a 2nd place going the way of Alex Johns. So Niall Crowther and Alex Johns going through to the feature. This is why we recap the results, ladies and gentlemen. And then in that final one there, it was Andy Oakley and John Bailiff who take 1st and 2nd. Martin Kenyon classified in 3rd. So some big changes based on the start. And I think Martin was definitely ahead by the time they crossed the line. So yeah, it makes sense that it was that way round. So it's Andy Oakley and John Bailiff. So wow, some penalties being given out here. Amazing stuff then that the results get changed like that. If you just give me 2 seconds there, everybody, I'm just going to take a very quick break here for just 2 minutes. I'm going to leave the cameras on auto so it looks at different drivers for you, and I'll be back in just a second. I just need to grab a drink, so bear with me. Thank you for that, everybody. I do apologise for the break there. Just had to make sure I had a drink because typically I've started another broadcast where I had barely anything left in my drink before we got underway. But the warm-up is a few seconds from ending, and then we're going to get our racing underway for the feature race here tonight. So that means that Andy Oakley took a heat race victory last time out, with John Bailiff in second place, Martin Kenyon classified third. Before that, Niall Crowther took his first heat race win of the season, and also ahead of that, Alex Johns finished in second place with him there as well. Simon Price got a second place out of it and makes his way through to the feature also. So in this one, we'll have Pete Harrod, Niall Crowther, John Bailiff, then Andy Oakley, then Simon Price and Alex Johns. So we've got a great mix of drivers, but no Jake Cranstone, no Aaron Smith in this one. So a big chance for Brian Crowell's. Sorry, no, not even Brian Crowell's in there. I do apologise. So none of the main championship hitters actually up there. Andy Oakley is the highest guy in the championship there to take that. There was a 4-point lead for Aaron Smith before this. So we'll have to see whether Andy can get anywhere near taking a chunk out of that. Let's see then, shall we, as we get ready for the feature race in round 6 of the CDM Speedway Super League. Once again, thank you everybody that's been watching so far this evening. I appreciate it's not a usual format, especially with the gap in the broadcast in between, but thanks to those of you that have stuck around, and thank you to those that like the video as well, and of course subscribe to Chaz Draycott Media. We love you all. I really do try and do a lot with these leagues. I run all of this and put all the decals together, all the graphics and the broadcast. It's all single-handed, and I hope you enjoy the show, everyone. It is my baby, this little series. It's been a lot of fun to do. Not quite sure why the cars suddenly blink into life like that with the lights around there, but it certainly makes it entertaining. John Bailiff and Alex Johns on the front row, Simon Price and Andy Oakley, and then a Spontex CDM Esports rear row with Pete Harrod and Niall Crowther. 6 laps in round 6 get underway, and this is the final feature race of the night. John Bailiff gets it going very tidy. Simon Price and Alex Johns nearly come together there as Andy Oakley goes to a lower line. Pete Harrod has to get on the brakes. Doesn't hit his teammate. Niall Crowther's careful. Simon Price digs it in. As, oh, dearie me, Andy Oakley and Alex Johns in contact. Pete Harrod in the wall as well. Dearie me, Simon Price is upside down for the second time this evening. Pete Harrod's carried on. I think Niall Crowther was somehow involved in that, actually. Niall's around. Niall's sideways. Andy Oakley's gone through, but John Bailiff, well, he started the night off in awful fashion, not being able to get in. Alex Johns is going to take a second place if it stays like this. Still, a while left to go in this race yet, halfway through. I'll have to try and have a look back at that accident somehow and figure out what on earth happened, but I think it was just a case of one of them losing a little bit of control going left and then right, and then pushed another driver and they just bounced off the wall. But John Bailiff taking the lead here early on and holding on to it. Alex Johns in second place. Alex has shown good pace when he needed to. Niall Crowther's overtaken his teammate there, Simon Price, as they head into the final couple of corners right together. Niall just sticks the inside wheel in the dirt and it just drags the car in. Alex Johns is 1.3 seconds ahead of Pete Harrod here. He's going to finish second in round 6 of the championship. John Bailiff leading this race then, and it looks like it's going to be a big 4 points for John. He's going to be the first driver that isn't Aaron Smith or Brian Crowell's to take a win in a feature, and John Bailiff gets the job done. Fantastic stuff for the Rapid Rocking Rebel Rascals Racing Round and Round World Racing Team. Alex Johns take a bow. 2 points for him and 1 point in that feature for Pete Harrod. Not a bad night by all standards for Pete. Andy Oakley, Simon Price and Niall Crowther miss out on that one. Let's just have a look at what happened then in this incident. We'll see if we can get some sort of blimp cam on it. Hopefully the session won't tick over too quickly, and then we'll be able to have a look at this, and we'll speak to some drivers over what happened afterwards. So you can see just at the back there, or actually no, look at the cars in second and third. Andy Oakley has to straighten up. Andy has to straighten up, gets into Alex. Pete Harrod is up there on the high line, and then Harrod hits Andy. And then I think Niall and Simon have a separate incident there. Yeah, Simon goes left to get out of the way, and the two Spontex cars hit each other. So the only person not involved in the incident there was John Bailiff, the race leader at that point. Niall then hits the pole. Simon Price is upside down once again. Pete Harrod somehow avoids that. Wow. Let's go on board with Pete Harrod, shall we, and see if we can have a look at this. Oh, is it not going to let me go back and look? No, it is. This is a view from Pete Harrod's car. So you'll see Andy Oakley just correct there. Gets into Alex. Pete gets into it. And then look, just in front, the other two Spontex cars go off. Pete probably didn't believe his eyes, to be honest with you. That was balmy stuff. Absolutely balmy. But wow, what an exciting night once again in the CDM Speedway Superleague. We'll have a chat with some drivers, shall we, and see what they think. And funnily enough, actually, two of the drivers that are in there that actually didn't make it into the final are Jake Cranstone and Aaron Smith. Sorry, Jake, my head has fallen off this evening. It's yeah, it's just nuts, mate. Honestly, a bit of a lively night for you, though. I mean, didn't really work out in the end thanks to the start procedures. It was a little bit messy in that respect. But what was it like here at Limaland?
Well, firstly, I must say it's nice of you to interview the losers every now and then. Yeah, no, I got caught out by the stupid rule. I mean, I'm not an oval racer, I don't know it like the back of my hand, and as soon as it went green, I just thought I could go. And I'm not sure who it was in front of me, I can't remember, they just didn't go at all. So I just had to dive on the inside, and then, yeah, I got a black flag straight away, so that was the end of that.
Yeah, it's a shame that it falls that way sometimes, especially because it's such a small field as well, I suppose, because you can literally overtake the whole field in one go, I guess, as soon as the lights go out. But, I mean, it looked like a bit of a challenging circuit in itself tonight. We saw last time out that there was a big change in a low line and a high line, and everyone was trying to use the middle. Here, it was like trying to go either side of it, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Well, I was trying to follow what Aaron was doing, because obviously he's the pro here, and he was like high, like all the time, and I tried that, but I was so much slower. I don't know how he was doing it, and my line was just really obscure. I don't think I've ever seen any oval racers do that sort of line. I was just like hugging the inside for dear life, trying to hook around the tyres, and it seemed to be paying off. Yeah, it was very, very weird.
Well, it certainly looked like a bit of a different one tonight. It was definitely not straightforward. We go back to USA International next time, though. Not the best circuit for the racing itself, but I think it's a bit of a level playing field there, isn't it, in a circuit that's that big?
Are we going... I thought you were changing it to Nürburgring.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. So we go to the Nordschleife next time round. What's your favourite corner around there in these Legends?
The carousel is pretty good, yeah.
Okay. Can you imagine one of these going around there?
I think it would just bounce off, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, yeah, USA, well, I mean, it's going back to one we've done before, so we've all got a bit of a head start. I did all right there, I think. So, yeah, we'll, fingers crossed, we have a clean one again, and yeah, it'd be a bit different to the racing here, I think. Not as much overtaking, I don't think.
How was your foot, by the way? Because you said last time that you were nursing an injury and obviously trying to just keep it as under wraps as possible. Is there a recovery?
Yeah, it's getting better. So the race last week was literally, I had the surgery about 6 hours before.
Oh wow!
Session.
Good lord.
Are
you mental?
It's all right. Yes. I do anything for you, Chaz.
Of course, Alan.
Yeah, no, it's all right now. Just healing. So yeah, thanks for asking.
No worries. Well, hope the healing continues, Jake. And sorry it didn't quite go your way tonight, but we look forward to heading back to USA International and speaking to you there.
Yeah, thanks, Chaz. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Jake Cranstone there. Not the best night for him, unfortunately, but it's part and parcel of it. And oh, what perfect timing to jump in and speak to Simon Price as we see slow motion Simon Price on his roof at turns 1 and 2. Simon, that was a lively final, but a lively night for everyone, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got really intimate with both the sky and the dirt today.
I was going to say, you certainly saw every angle possible of Limaland, but what was it like getting back on the circuit with these boys? Because last time you were with us, of course, you were at USA International. It's a very different kettle of fish.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I've not got as much practice in as I would have hoped, but I felt like I was a bit closer to some people and able to sort of capitalise on some of the errors that happened when I wasn't having errors of my own. But yeah, I had a real blast tonight. That was good fun.
And some championship points to go with it as well. You got a 3rd place in your first heat and then a 2nd place in your 2nd heat after penalties for some of the guys ahead. So it's all racking up. And the thing is, with a championship that's got such a close point system like this, no matter where you are in the field, you've always got someone to sort of keep an eye on the maths with, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm glad you're paying attention because I had no idea where I was in most of those. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I say, you don't know where you're going to end up. And with a 14-second lap, it could be first when you're way off the pace. So I'm just going to keep turning up, hoping for accidents, and hoping they aren't mine, I guess.
Oh, me too, Simon. But it's great to see you out on the track, mate, and great to see that you're enjoying yourself. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to before we wrap things up?
Yeah, well, obviously the broadcasts are always amazing to watch.
Thank you.
And I've been looking back over some of the old broadcasts, actually getting a bit teary-eyed, but I wouldn't normally have it on while I was racing, but for these I do, because I can kind of watch the races in between and keep up on who's doing what and who's driving where. So yeah, so I'm having a really good time.
That's what it's all about, Simon. It's an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for jumping in, and we'll see you in a week's time. Have a good one.
Magic. Cheers, Chaz.
And there you go, Simon Price, everybody. We are going to call it quits there, unfortunately. We're just going to have to cut things short a little bit. Usually we'd go for 3 interviews on the night, but tonight we are just going to go for the 2. But it's been another very exciting night here in the CDM Speedway Superleague. A bit more argy-bargy, a bit of a messy one with some starts here tonight, but I think Limaland definitely caught a lot of people napping. It's been a hell of a lot of fun though, like I say. Thank you to everybody that's been involved once again. It's great group of guys out in this championship, and as I've said, we need just 2 more drivers to get to 16 in our field, and then we can have all 16 of you out on the circuit. So if you are thinking about joining us, we're only just going to get into our second half of the season now. So head to chazdracott.com, go to the sim racing page, and then go to enter a championship or enter an event, and you'll be able to sign up in there. It's just £10 for the season, and of course it's a lot of fun for it. There's a great community behind it, and I hope to see you out on the circuit with them. But I've been Chaz Draycott. This has been the CDM Speedway Super League at Limaland, and I hope to see you in a week's time, everybody. But for now, have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you again.
4 French drivers at the French Grand Prix trying to win this on the final lap. The 3 wide again, Guillaume down the inside. Guillaume moves across, they're both in front of Milan and Pouget.
But before you know it, we find ourselves here in the very final race of the competition. And then they see truck racing and they think, this is crazy, you know, these are 5-ton machines, 1200 horsepower brake.
Oh, look at that switchback. Oh, you can look and a drift to show off. Ben Gregory now, I love it. 10.5 minutes gone. Senna Lanson tries to go for the race lead.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.